Why do the most advanced alien species seem to fear humanity so much? The answer will surprise you, and it starts with an attempt at humiliation that backfired spectacularly. When the Galactic Council decided to gift Earth a junked spaceship, they made the biggest mistake of their thousands of years of existence. They didn't count on one crucial factor: humanity's incredible ability to turn lemons into lemonade, or in this case, space junk into the most feared warship in the galaxy. Get ready to learn the story of the Phoenix, a ship that shouldn't exist. It's a tale of resistance, ingenuity, and pure human audacity that forever changed the balance of power in the cosmos. While other species relied on ultra-advanced technology and strict protocols, a group of Earth engineers proved that creativity and adaptability are worth more than thousands of years of technological development. You're about to discover how a human crew transformed obsolete systems into revolutionary weapons, how they turned design flaws into tactical advantages, and how they showed that sometimes the best way to win isn't having the best technology. It's knowing how to innovatively use what you have at your disposal. In the depths of space, where stars dance their silent waltz, a legend began to form in the dusty corridors of a ship that many considered mere scrap. The crew of the Phoenix, made up of some of Earth's brightest engineers, turned what should have been a humiliation into a symbol of resistance against the oppression of the Galactic Council. Among patched circuits and improvised panels, each crew member left their mark on history, documenting in their personal diaries how a rejected ship would become the nightmare of alien fleets. Chief Engineer Mike Torres, known for his limitless creativity, led a team that defied all conventions of space engineering, proving that human genius knew no bounds. Amid the organized chaos of the engineering room, alien technology took on new meaning in human hands. Systems that had been deemed outdated by the Galactic Council's standards were completely reconfigured, demonstrating that true innovation lies not in complexity, but in efficient simplicity. Lieutenant Avery Kwan, a combat systems specialist, worked tirelessly to transform basic sensors into a lethal network of advanced detection. Her team developed unique algorithms that allowed the Phoenix to predict and neutralize threats before they even materialized, setting a new standard in electronic warfare that left the aliens bewildered. The ship's heart, its main reactor, became an object of admiration and fear among the crew. Mike Torres had removed the redundancies considered essential by alien engineers, channeling all raw energy directly into vital systems. It was a dangerous dance with destruction, but also a clear demonstration of human audacity. The corridors of the Phoenix pulsed with the beat of the modified reactor, as if the ship itself were alive, eager to prove its worth in combat. The engineering room became a laboratory of innovation, where each day brought a new discovery, a new advancement in understanding alien technology. In Commander Sarah Vasquez's records, the stories of combat took on epic tones. Her experience in war tactics blended perfectly with the technical modifications implemented by the engineering team. The walls of the Phoenix, once seen as fragile by alien standards, were transformed into deadly traps for any unwitting invader. The commander documented with particular satisfaction how space pirates, used to subjugating merchant ships, met their end when they tried their usual tactics against the Phoenix. Each attempted boarding turned into a painful lesson about human ingenuity. Among the pages of the diaries, tales of sabotage and counter-sabotage unfolded like an interstellar espionage romance. The crew learned to turn every disadvantage into an opportunity, every failure into a chance for improvement. The ship's AI systems, initially limited and rudimentary, were reprogrammed to operate in harmony with human intuition, creating a unique symbiosis between machine and operator. This integration allowed the Phoenix to perform maneuvers considered impossible, leaving alien observers in a state of shock and admiration. In the margins of technical reports, the growing pride of the crew became evident. Each victory, every survived battle, each successful modification was a testament to human resilience. The Phoenix was not just a warship, it was a monument to a species that refused to be subjugated. The aliens had gravely underestimated human potential, believing that superior technology equated to absolute superiority. Each day, the crew proved otherwise, demonstrating that creativity and adaptability surpassed advanced resources. The ship's cloaking system, another shining example of human ingenuity, was extensively documented in the technical team's diaries. Utilizing basic principles of energy deflection and electromagnetic field manipulation, the crew created a concealment method that confused even the most sophisticated alien sensors. It was an elegant solution to a complex problem, typical of human thinking. While the aliens searched for answers in increasingly advanced technologies, humans found solutions in fundamental principles applied in innovative ways. The records from the weapons room revealed another facet of the Phoenix's transformation. The railguns installed, though considered primitive by the Galactic Council's standards, were modified to achieve speeds and precision that defied known laws of physics. The armaments team worked closely with engineers to create AI-assisted targeting systems that automatically compensated for combat variables, resulting in a hit rate that would make any alien marksman green with envy. It was yet another proof that superior technology without creativity was like a rifle without a trigger. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the crew's diaries began to record subtle changes in the attitudes of other species toward the Phoenix. What started as disdain transformed into caution, and then into reluctant respect. Tales of the ship that turned scrap into power began to circulate in space bars and trading stations. Pirates avoided their path, merchants requested their escort, and even the patrols of the Galactic Council kept a respectful distance. The reputation of the Phoenix grew, along with the pride of its crew in representing the best that humanity had to offer. News of the Phoenix's transformation spread through the galaxy like a shockwave in an asteroid field. In the golden halls of the Galactic Council, advisors from various species gathered for emergency sessions, trying to comprehend how a race once deemed primitive had achieved such a feat. Videos of the Phoenix in action, despite attempts at censorship, constantly leaked across interstellar communication networks. Each new recording showcased a ship that, on the outside, appeared to be just a common piece of space junk, yet moved with the grace of a predator and struck with the precision of a surgeon. The Council's efforts to suppress this information only fueled further curiosity among other species. In the dusty taverns of spaceports, veteran pilots swapped tales about encounters with the legendary human ship. Stories of battles morphed into myths, becoming increasingly embellished with each retelling. One audacious pirate captain admitted, with a choked voice, that his fleet of 3 ships had been completely neutralized by the Phoenix in mere minutes. The most impressive part, according to him, was that the human ship hadn't destroyed any of his vessels, only left them adrift, with critical systems disabled, like a predator choosing not to kill its prey to send an even stronger message. The reactions of different species to the rise of the Phoenix revealed much about the galactic political landscape. While some of the older races viewed the human success with disdain and concern, younger species, and those long oppressed by the Council, began to see Earth as a symbol of hope. Disparate and disorganized rebel groups found inspiration in the innovative tactics employed by the humans. Alien technology, once monopolized by dominant powers, began to be viewed in a new light. It was not the sophistication of the equipment that mattered, but the creativity with which it was utilized. In research centers scattered across the galaxy, engineers from various species desperately attempted to replicate the modifications made by the crew of the Phoenix. Entire teams pored over fragmented technical reports, trying to understand how a scrap ship had become so formidable. However, every attempt to reproduce human success ended in failure. The frustration of these specialists only highlighted a truth that the Galactic Council was reluctant to accept. Technological superiority alone was no guarantee of victory. The true advantage of humans lay in their ability to think outside established patterns. The impact of the Phoenix on the galactic economy was equally profound. Previously neutral star systems began to establish trade agreements with Earth, recognizing the value of having humans as allies. Trade routes were altered to pass closer to territory controlled by humanity, seeking the protection that the mere presence of a human ship provided. The Council's fleet, once omnipresent and feared, now struggled to maintain its authority in more distant regions where Earth's influence grew rapidly. Military academies throughout the galaxy began to revise their tactics and strategy manuals. Electronic warfare, once considered merely a complement to raw firepower, gained new importance following the successes of the Phoenix. Young officers from various species avidly studied battle reports involving the human ship, trying to comprehend how a single vessel could be so effective against entire fleets. The concept of peacekeeping, traditionally associated with displays of military might, started to take on new meanings under the influence of the human approach to space combat. Among the older species of the galaxy, those that had been part of the Council for millennia, the rise of the Phoenix sparked heated debates about the future of the established order. Some argued for a firm response to the human threat, while others advocated a complete reevaluation of the Council's policies. The fact that such a young race had achieved this feat exposed the vulnerabilities of a system that had grown complacent in its supposed superiority. The sabotage of the Council's systems of domination did not come from direct attacks, but from the very existence of the Phoenix, as proof that other paths were possible. In the farthest worlds from the galactic core, where the Council's authority had always been tenuous, the story of the Phoenix was received as a call to action. Colonies long exploited began to question the agreements that kept them subjugated. Alien technology, once viewed as unattainable and mystical, was now being reassessed with a more critical eye. If humans could transform scrap into a fearsome weapon of war, what was stopping other species from doing the same? Independence, once a distant dream, began to seem like a real possibility. The corporations that controlled interstellar trade watched the Phoenix phenomenon with growing interest. Market analyses showed a significant shift in buyer preferences. Technology of human origin, even if more basic, began to be valued for its reliability and adaptability. Human engineering, once ridiculed as primitive, was now being studied in detail by those seeking to understand how simplicity and efficiency could outperform complexity and sophistication. Resistance to the technological dominance of traditional species gained strength, fueled by the example set by the Phoenix. The moment that the Galactic Council had dreaded finally arrived. It was time to show their true strength. From the most secretive hangar of their military base emerged a terrifying sight. A dreadnought 2.5 kilometers long, a mobile fortress capable of destroying moons with a single shot from its main cannons. The crew of the Phoenix observed through their modified sensors as the alien Titan emerged from the shadows, its weapon towers glowing with contained energy, its shields creating visible distortions in the very fabric of space. For any other ship, it would be time to flee. For the Phoenix, it was merely another challenge to overcome with ingenuity and repurposed alien technology. In the corridors of the Phoenix, the crew worked with the precision of a well-rehearsed orchestra. Chief Engineer Mike Torres coordinated his teams through modified intercoms, preparing systems that the aliens could never imagine existed. Lieutenant Kwan, at her combat station, fed data into electronic warfare algorithms she had developed herself, turning every bit of information into a potential tactical advantage. Commander Vasquez, in her chair at the center of the bridge, allowed herself a discreet smile. The Council had sent their most powerful warship to eliminate a simple modified cargo ship, and that would be their downfall. The first phase of the confrontation began even before the dreadnought could fire its first salvo. Through microscopic breaches in the alien communication protocols, the Phoenix infiltrated viruses developed from reverse engineering, programs so subtle that they seemed like a natural part of the enemy ship's systems, while the dreadnought's officers boasted about their technological superiority. Small malfunctions began to multiply in its systems, nothing critical enough to raise alarms, but enough to create a web of vulnerabilities that would be exploited at the right moment. The initial clash of weapons was spectacular. The dreadnought unleashed a storm of directed energy, plasma bolts and smart missiles, enough to reduce an entire fleet to atoms. The Phoenix, however, danced between the projectiles like water slipping through fingers. Its navigation systems reprogrammed to predict attack patterns with supernatural precision. Every wasted movement by the enemy was an opportunity for the human ship to close in, while its modified railgun shots found small gaps in the giant's defenses, inflicting precise and calculated damage. The turning point came when the Phoenix activated its electromagnetic beam, Actually, an old mining laser completely reconfigured to emit energy pulses that interfered with the dreadnought's cooling systems. It was a risky move, as it required the human ship to dangerously approach the enemy's short-range weapons. But the crew of the Phoenix had learned that sometimes it was necessary to dive into danger to achieve victory. The beam struck its target with surgical precision, forcing the dreadnought's auxiliary reactors into safety mode. The silent sabotage that had been occurring since the battle began to show its effects. Critical systems of the dreadnought started to fail in a cascading manner, its defenses disorganizing like a house of cards collapsing. The Phoenix's AI, working in conjunction with the human operators, identified and exploited each new vulnerability that emerged. The electronic warfare, which the aliens considered a lesser art compared to sheer firepower, was proving to be the true decider of space battles. The final blow was a masterpiece of technical improvisation. Using the railguns in a configuration that its creators had never imagined, the Phoenix fired a series of specially designed magnetic charges. Each projectile, seemingly harmless on its own, carried a specific electromagnetic field that, when combined with the others, created a devastating resonance effect. The weak points in the dreadnought's hull, already compromised by previous attacks, could not withstand the increasing pressure. The destruction began from the inside out, like a slow-motion implosion. The message sent to the Council after the battle was not a simple warning. It was a complete redefinition of the galactic game. Humanity was not merely proving its worth, it was establishing a new paradigm where creativity and adaptability surpassed resources and tradition. The wreckage of the dreadnought, silently drifting in space, was a testament to the futility of trying to subjugate a species that turned disadvantages into opportunities. The revenge for the initial humiliation was complete, but it was just the beginning. The psychological impact of the dreadnought's destruction reverberated throughout the galaxy. For the species observing from afar, it became clear that they were witnessing the birth of a new era. The Phoenix had not only won a battle, it had demonstrated that the entire concept of technological superiority needed to be rethought. The innovative tactics employed by the human ship became the subject of study in military academies throughout the galaxy, though few could replicate the unique combination of creativity and boldness that characterized the human approach to space combat. Amidst the wreckage of the battle, the Phoenix hovered almost motionless, its combat scars glowing under the light of distant stars. Its crew was already busy with repairs and improvements, transforming the lessons learned during the confrontation into new modifications and updates. For them, the victory over the dreadnought was not an end, but a beginning. Somewhere in the vastness of space, other warships from the Council awaited, and the Phoenix would be ready to face them, stronger and more lethal each time. The legend was just beginning to be written. The success of the Phoenix against the Council's dreadnought opened the eyes of the human high command to an undeniable truth. They could not rely on a single ship, no matter how legendary, to ensure Earth's safety. In the orbital shipyards of Mars, engineers and technicians worked tirelessly, applying the lessons learned from the original Phoenix to a new generation of warships. The knowledge gained through reverse engineering alien technology was being incorporated into increasingly bold designs. Each new vessel would be an evolution of the original concept, maintaining the philosophy of adaptability and innovation that had made the Phoenix so formidable. The first of the new line was named Valkyrie, a ship specifically designed for direct combat. Its engineers had studied every battle record of the Phoenix, identifying patterns and opportunities for improvement. The result was a vessel that combined the brutality of enhanced railguns with the subtlety of advanced electronic warfare. Its weapon systems were a symphony of coordinated destruction, with autonomous interception drones protecting the ship while it dealt devastating blows to distant targets. The integrated combat AI learned and adapted in real time, making each encounter a new lesson in space warfare tactics. Next came Cerberus, a mobile fortress that elevated the concept of adaptive defense to new heights. Its designers recognized that the true strength of the Phoenix lay not only in its ability to inflict damage, but in its capacity to survive seemingly impossible encounters. The Cerberus was built around this philosophy, featuring overlapping layers of energy shields and reactive armor. complemented by electronic countermeasure systems so advanced that some species believed the ship could predict the future. Its specialized electronic warfare AI was capable of engaging in battles across multiple spectrums simultaneously. The Nyx represented an entirely different approach to space combat. While its sister ships boasted impressive firepower, this vessel was a nightmare for the Galactic Council strategists. Specializing in infiltration and sabotage, the Nyx could penetrate the most sophisticated defenses undetected. Its camouflage system so effective that many believed the ship could become literally invisible. Its true strength, however, lay in its ability to hack and take control of other vessels, turning the enemy's own weapons against them. The most ambitious project of the new fleet was the Leviathan, a hybrid ship that combined transport and warship functions. Its size rivaled the largest dreadnoughts of the Council, but its true innovation was its modularity. Each section of the ship could be rapidly reconfigured for different missions, allowing it to adapt to any combat scenario. Its hangars could deploy entire squadrons of fighters, while its main weapon systems were capable of performing orbital bombardments with surgical precision. It was humanity's answer to the Council's arrogance, proving that we too could build giants. The Phoenix Prime, the original ship modernized, remained the ultimate symbol of human ingenuity. Every battle, every repair cycle, every modification had made it stronger. Its new optical camouflage system was a masterpiece of engineering, allowing the legendary ship to approach its targets undetected. The smart fusion missiles were just the tip of the iceberg. Its true power lay in the accumulated experience of its crew and the perfect integration of human and alien systems that had been refined over countless encounters. As the new ships were commissioned, a subtle shift occurred in galactic politics. The Council, which once viewed Earth as a pesky threat, now faced the reality of a military force truly capable of challenging its authority. Each ship in the new fleet incorporated technologies and tactics that had been tested and approved in real combat, refined through the hard-won experience of the original Phoenix. Human resistance was no longer a curiosity, it was a force that needed to be taken seriously. The impact on other species was immediate and profound. Alliances began to form naturally, with younger races seeking protection and guidance from Earth. Human technology, once ridiculed as primitive, was now openly studied and copied. Commander James Walker, a veteran of countless battles aboard the original Phoenix, watched with pride as his small technological revolutions spread throughout the galaxy. Revenge against the Council would not come through total destruction, but through a fundamental shift in the balance of power that their innovations had unleashed. Military academies on Earth worked at a frantic pace to train crews capable of operating the new ships. It was not enough to have the technology. A new generation of officers was needed who understood the philosophy behind the success of the Phoenix. Each ship in the fleet was unique, with its own quirks and specializations, requiring crew members who could think creatively and adapt quickly to unforeseen situations. The sabotage of conventional space warfare systems continued, now on a much larger scale. Stories of the new fleet began to spread throughout the galaxy, each ship building its own legend. The Valkyrie became known for single-handedly facing and destroying entire fleets. The Cerberus gained a reputation for being impregnable, surviving attacks that would have destroyed any other ship. The Nyx became a feared ghost, its mere mention causing alien captains to nervously check their security systems. And the Leviathan? It became the symbol of reborn human military power, a clear demonstration that Earth not only learned from its oppressors, but had surpassed them. The victory of the Phoenix fleet over the forces of the Galactic Council ignited a spark of hope across the galaxy. On distant planets, species long subjugated began to raise their voices in protest. The planet Zyphor, known for its vast industrial facilities and skilled workforce, was the first to openly declare its support for Earth. Its factories, once forced to produce equipment for the Council at rock-bottom prices, now redirected their resources to the human cause. Zyphorian engineers, fascinated by the creativity demonstrated in the modifications to the Phoenix, began to develop their own innovations based on human engineering principles. The Udar, a proud race of nomadic space warriors, recognized in the human resistance a spirit similar to their own. For generations, They had been labeled as pirates and savages by the Council, forced to live on the fringes of galactic society. Now, their fleets of fast and highly maneuverable ships offered to fight alongside Earth. The alien technology in their vessels, combined with guerrilla tactics honed over centuries, complemented humanity's innovative approach to space combat. Camouflage and sabotage became even more potent weapons with this alliance. One of the greatest surprises came from the Alturians themselves, one of the founding species of the Galactic Council. A significant group of dissidents, led by scientists and philosophers who had long questioned the Council's oppressive policies, decided to share critical technological secrets with Earth. Their knowledge about vulnerabilities in the Council's defense systems and weaknesses in its bureaucratic structure was invaluable. Human electronic warfare, already formidable, gained a new dimension with this information, allowing the Phoenix fleet to execute even more precise and devastating attacks. The Council, realizing that its control was beginning to crumble, attempted a desperate diplomatic approach. Emissaries were sent to Earth with offers of peace and promises of territorial concessions. However, humanity had learned its lesson. The same species that had tried to humiliate them with outdated technology was now attempting to buy them off with empty promises. Earth's response was clear. The era of galactic oppression was coming to an end. The dreadnought destroyed by the Phoenix was not just a military victory, it was a symbol of what happens when human determination is underestimated. Established power structures began to crumble rapidly. Stellar systems that once feared reprisals from the Council now openly declared their independence. The Resistance, previously scattered and disorganized, found a convergence point on Earth. The human fleet, with its innovative tactics and adaptive technology, provided the example and means for other species to break free. The railguns and AI systems developed by humans were shared with trusted allies, creating a mutual defense network that the Council could not penetrate. The effects of this cascading rebellion went beyond the military field. Trade routes established for millennia were redefined, with new power centers emerging in regions previously considered peripheral. Alien technology, once monopolized by the Council, began to flow freely among allied species. Human creativity in adapting and improving these systems inspired a wave of technological innovation across the galaxy. The peacekeeping force that the Council had long touted was exposed as a tool of oppression, replaced by a genuine alliance of free species. The accumulated knowledge of the dissident Alturians revealed something even more disturbing. The Council had deliberately suppressed technological advances that could benefit younger species. The discovery that the sabotage of scientific development was an official policy only strengthened the rebels' resolve. Revenge would not come solely through military might, but through the liberation of scientific knowledge long buried in the Council's secret archives. Humanity was leading not just an armed rebellion, but a cultural and technological revolution. On the fringes of known space, where the Council's influence had always been tenuous, new alliances were rapidly forming. Species that barely tolerated each other discovered a common purpose in the fight for freedom. The colonization of new worlds, once strictly controlled by the Council, now followed only the laws of necessity and mutual cooperation. The human fleet, expanded and strengthened by its allies, ensured that these new colonies remained free from the Council's interference. The oppression that had once stifled the development of entire civilizations was being systematically dismantled. The psychological impact of this unified rebellion was deep and lasting. Species that had accepted their subordinate positions for millennia now saw a path to true independence. Earth, with its history of turning disadvantages into strength, became a beacon of hope. The innovative tactics developed by the Phoenix fleet were studied and adapted by all rebel forces, creating a new paradigm of space warfare that the Council could not effectively counter. The destruction of their control system was inevitable. Amidst all this calculated chaos, the Phoenix and her sister ships continued their relentless mission. Each victory strengthened the rebel alliance. Each demonstration of power attracted new allies to the cause. The Council, which had long ruled through fear and oppression, now experienced the same fear it had inflicted on others. Humanity's revenge would not be swift or merciful. It would be a complete transformation of the galactic order, ensuring that no species could ever impose its will on others again. The Galactic Council, cornered and desperate, revealed its true nature through an act of supreme cowardice. Under the pretense of peace negotiations, it lured high-ranking human officials to a diplomatic conference at its most secure orbital station. It was a trap, of course, but what the Council did not know was that humanity was prepared for this possibility. While alien diplomats smiled falsely during negotiations, the Phoenix fleet was already in position, camouflaged among the wreckage of ancient battles and artificial asteroid fields, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Council's orbital station was a marvel of alien engineering, a space fortress that prided itself on never having been penetrated. Its defense systems included 50 state-of-the-art warships, arranged in formations that its strategists considered impenetrable. Energy cannons capable of vaporizing continents were strategically positioned along its structure, ready to turn any attacking force into cosmic dust. The alien technology employed there represented the pinnacle of millennia of development, or so the Council believed. The attack began not with explosions or railgun fire, but with silence. The Nix, a specialist in infiltration, had spent days inserting dormant programs into the station's communication systems. When the order to attack was given, these programs awakened simultaneously, turning the Council's command network into a chaos of contradictory information. Alien ships began receiving false orders while their sensors showed non-existent threats in all directions. Electronic warfare, an art that the Council had underestimated, now turned against them with full force. The Cerberus led the next phase of the attack, its imposing silhouette emerging from the shadows like an ancient predator. Its enhanced defense systems easily absorbed the disorganized fire from the Council ships, while its own weapons delivered precise and devastating damage. The ship's combat AI had been fed data from all previous battles against Council forces, enabling it to predict and neutralize standard tactics before they could even be fully executed. Sabotaging the enemy's defense systems was methodical and relentless. As chaos reigned in enemy ranks, the Valkyrie executed its own deadly dance. Its combat drones, small masterpieces of human engineering, penetrated the alien formations like swarms of metal wasps. Each drone was equipped with miniaturized versions of the railguns that had made the Phoenix famous, creating a crossfire that turned the Council's proud ships into space debris. Revenge for years of oppression was being served with surgical precision. The Leviathan, held in reserve until this moment, finally revealed its presence. From its hangars emerged squadrons of fighters, each piloted by veterans of previous battles against the Council. These small ships, incorporating alien technology modified by human ingenuity, were practically invisible to enemy sensors until the moment of attack. The peacekeeping force that the Council had so loudly proclaimed was being systematically dismantled by a far superior force, not in numbers or raw technology, but in innovation and adaptability. The Phoenix Prime, the legendary ship that had started it all, now moved like a ghost among enemy lines. Its optical camouflage system, refined through countless battles, allowed it to approach priority targets without detection. Each shot from its modified railguns was a destructive work of art, finding weaknesses that even the Council's ship designers had not known existed. The veteran crew operated with the precision of a well-rehearsed orchestra, transforming combat tactics into a lethal form of space poetry. The decisive moment came when the orbital station attempted to activate its planet-destroying weapon. The aliens believed that the threat of mass destruction would force the humans to retreat. Instead, they witnessed the true extent of their defeat. The weapons control system had been completely compromised by Nix's hackers, its security routines rewritten to respond to human commands. The forced colonization and oppression that the Council had used to maintain its power now turned against them. Ambassador Reed, the central figure of the Galactic Council, watched in horror as his empire crumbled. Through the armored windows of the orbital station, he could see his proud warships being methodically destroyed by a force he had deemed inferior. The alien technology that was supposed to ensure their supremacy was failing against adaptations and modifications deemed impossible by his engineers. The resistance he had tried to crush had transformed into an unstoppable force. The final destruction of the Council's orbital station was not just the end of a battle, it was the birth of a new galactic era. The explosion that lit up space like a new temporary star carried a clear message to the entire galaxy. The era of oppression had ended. Humanity, along with its allies, had proven that creativity and determination could overcome any technological advantage. Freedom, long denied to so many species, finally had its true defenders. With the fall of the Galactic Council, a new era of freedom and cooperation began to flourish among the stars. Humanity, having proven its worth not only in combat, but also in wisdom, surprised the galaxy once again. Instead of filling the power vacuum left by the Council, Earth proposed something revolutionary, a galactic independence treaty that would guarantee the sovereignty of all species. The Phoenix Fleet, the ultimate symbol of resistance against oppression, transformed into a peacekeeping force, patrolling trade routes and ensuring that no race could ever subjugate another again. The technological advancements developed during the war were not kept secret, as the Council had done. Human engineers freely shared their innovations with other species, teaching the fundamental principles that had allowed the Phoenix to transform scrap alien technology into formidable weapons. This policy of knowledge sharing led to an explosion of creativity throughout the galaxy. Races that had once blindly relied on the Council's technology began to develop their own unique solutions, blending human techniques with their own ancestral knowledge. Space colonization entered a new phase, free from the artificial restrictions imposed by the old regime. Previously forbidden star systems were opened for exploration and settlement, with the only condition being that the rights of any native species were respected. The Phoenix and her sister ships frequently escorted colonization missions, no longer as symbols of war, but as guardians of a new galactic dream. War technology was adapted for peaceful purposes, with modified railguns used for asteroid mining and camouflage systems utilized for non-intrusive scientific observation. The alliances forged during the rebellion against the Council evolved into lasting partnerships based on mutual respect and shared benefit. The Zyphorians, with their industrial expertise, worked alongside human engineers to develop new generations of spacecraft. The Udar warriors found new purpose as combat tactics instructors in Earth's military academies. The Alturian dissidents, now free to share their knowledge, established universities that attracted students from all species, creating centers of learning where ancient wisdom melded with modern innovation. The revenge that many expected from humanity never materialized in the form they anticipated. Instead of punishing the species that had supported the Council, Earth extended a hand in friendship, recognizing that many had been as much victims as they had been accomplices of the old regime. This magnanimous approach, combined with the strength demonstrated during the war, elevated humanity's status from an emerging species to a true galactic leader. The sabotage of the old power systems was completed not through destruction, but through constructive transformation. The stories of the Phoenix and her crew became legends passed down from generation to generation across thousands of worlds. Young cadets in space academies studied not only the innovative tactics employed in battles, but also the deeper lessons about creativity, adaptability, and determination. The message was clear. It was not technological superiority that determined the fate of a civilization, but its ability to think originally and adapt to new challenges. The legacy of human resistance inspired other species to seek their own unique paths to progress. The former chambers of the Galactic Council were transformed into a museum and research center open to all species. In the halls where orders of oppression once echoed, now resonated the voices of scholars and inventors from 1,000 different worlds, all working together to expand the frontiers of knowledge. The alien technology that had once been used to subjugate now served as the foundation for advancements that benefited the entire galaxy. The peacekeeping force established by Earth ensured that this knowledge would never again be used to oppress. As new colonies flourished and old rivalries transformed into productive cooperation, the Phoenix continued her eternal patrol through space. Her presence was a constant reminder that freedom needed to be actively protected. The ship that had begun as scrap and become a legend now served as the guardian of a hard-won peace. Your crew, although renewed over the years, kept alive the spirit of innovation and courage that had changed the course of galactic history. Many reflected that humanity's greatest achievement was not the military victory over the Council, but the transformation of the galaxy that followed. The fear and distrust that had characterized relationships between species for millennia began to give way to curiosity and mutual respect. Human engineering, which had proven its worth by transforming discarded alien technology into instruments of liberation, now led a peaceful revolution in how different civilizations interacted and evolved together. As the decades passed, the Phoenix became more than just a ship. It was a symbol of hope and possibility. Its appearances in distant systems were celebrated not with fear, but with joy. The original crew had long since retired, but their legacy lived on in every new generation of space explorers. In a vast and often hostile universe, the story of the Phoenix reminded everyone that even the smallest spark of resistance could ignite the fire of galactic change. So what did you think of this incredible story of human resilience and ingenuity? Have you ever imagined what you would do if you were in the place of the Phoenix crew? Let us know in the comments what modifications you would make to the ship if you were part of the engineering team. But wait, do you really think this was the only time humanity taught advanced species of the galaxy a lesson? In the next video, I'll tell you how a small human colony managed to defeat an entire fleet of invaders using nothing but farming tools and a lot of creativity. It's an even crazier story than that of the Phoenix. I guarantee you won't want to miss it. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, activate the notification bell, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our epic tales about how humanity proves time and again that creativity surpasses technology. See you next time.